Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video of Be the Best DFS Daily Fantasy Sports Talk. Today is Thursday, September 8th, 2016, and I'm going to be talking about my NFL lineup strategy for Fanduel as well as DraftKings. Tonight is a big night, opening kickoff for the NFL season. Panthers at the Broncos, and it's opening week for DFS football as well as season-long football. I'm excited. I got my Falcons gear on. Expect my Falcons to do big things, hopefully make a Super Bowl run. But I'm going to go ahead and start talking about this daily fantasy. So for tonight, they have the Thursday night slates available on both FanDuel and DraftKings. I won't be playing Thursday night contests on FanDuel, but I am playing on DraftKings. And when I play Thursday night contests, I only play them if I'm using people from the Thursday game. And when I look at the game tonight between the Broncos and the Panthers, I really don't see anything I like on the Broncos side of the ball from a daily fantasy perspective. But on the Panthers side, of course, you have the MVP in Cam Newton. So I'm going to go ahead and plug Cam Newton in for my quarterback. And the question is, I think it's best that you stack him with somebody if you believe he's going to have a good game. And the options you have is Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, and Ted Ginn Jr. at wide receiver. And then you have Greg Olsen at tight end. I actually like Greg Olsen. I think he's a good red zone target. Him and Cam Newton have a lot of chemistry. Denver Broncos, they have a good pass rush, a good defense, good cornerbacks. So he's going to have to get rid of the ball quickly. And I'm thinking that he's going to, throw those passes to Greg Olsen. I think he can be a good safety blanket for Cam facing a good Denver Broncos defense. So for me, for the Thursday night contest on DraftKings, I'm just going to build my lineup around the stack of Cam Newton and Greg Olsen, and I'll fill out the rest of my lineup after tonight's game. So now that I got the Thursday night game out the way, it's on to the good stuff. Week one, Sunday and Monday football. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to share with y'all my lineup strategy, and hopefully we can have some success in week one. So this is for FanDuel right now. I will talk about DraftKings later on in the video. So starting off at the wide receiver position, which I feel is the most important position in DFS football. My favorite wide receiver for week one is Amari Cooper for 7,100 of the Oakland Raiders. Amari Cooper, he's the number one wide receiver for the Raiders. The reason I like him is because the New Orleans Saints, their defense was just absolutely horrible on last season. Their secondary was bad. They were like near the bottom of the league as far as pass defense on last season. And I feel that Amari Cooper is just in a good spot. Him and Derek Carr, they have good chemistry together. He showed last year that he's a good wide receiver. He's a big target. He's definitely going to get the looks. And, I don't think the Saints made any acquisitions on defense that really helped improve them this year. So I expect them to be pretty bad again this year, just like they were last year. And at a decent price of $7,100, Amari Cooper, he's definitely my favorite wide receiver for week one on FanDuel. Now, other wide receivers that I like. This guy, he's more like a sneaky play. Dante Moncrief for the Indianapolis Colts for 6,200. When you think about the Colts, you think about Andrew Luck, and a lot of people automatically think of T.Y. Hilton, who's been the number one receiver the last couple of seasons. T.Y. Hilton, he's a good player, typically a deep threat, but I like what I saw from Dante Moncrief last year towards the end of the season. And in the preseason, he's been involved in the offense a lot. And I think he's going to emerge as the number one receiver this year. The Detroit Lions, they're not that good of a defense. The Colts are at home. I expect Andrew Luck to, play a good game, and make up for, his bad season on last year. So with a lot of people thinking about Hilton, I think Moncrief could be a sneaky play for tournaments. Now, I wouldn't use him for cash games, but, I'm only playing tournaments, for week one. So I think Moncrief, he's in a perfect spot, to have some success, for week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Now, the third person I have at wide receiver for right now, he's not necessarily my favorite wide receiver, but I mentioned in the other video, I think a quarterback wide receiver stack is important to build your lineup around. So Doug Baldwin for the Seattle Seahawks, he's the receiver I got, mainly because I like Russell Wilson as week 1. I'll get to quarterbacks, but Russell Wilson is my favorite quarterback. And Doug Baldwin, he's the number 1 receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. But let me explain some more reasons why I like Doug Baldwin. So they're facing the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins, I think about their defense. They got Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh on the defensive line. He's a run stopper. Marshawn Lynch is no longer with the Seattle Seahawks, so their run game may not be as strong as it's been the previous few years. So I'm thinking they're going to have to lean more on the passing game. And if they lean more on the passing game, then the number 1 receiver is Doug Baldwin. I actually like all the Seattle receivers. I like Baldwin, Lockett, as well as Curse. But, I'm going to go with the number 1 receiver because, to be safe. On last season, Doug Baldwin, he had 14 touchdowns. Check the stats, 2015 season, 14 touchdowns. He has a knack for getting in the end zone, over 1,000 yards receiving. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder because he feel like, Seattle receivers don't get the respect they deserve. Everybody always talk about their defense. So week 1, being at home, in that good environment, they got the 12th man in Seattle. I really like Doug Baldwin. Another interesting point I want to talk about for this game, the Miami Dolphins, their secondary. I'm not exactly sure who their cornerbacks and safeties are now, but I know who's not there, and that's Brent Grimes. Brent Grimes used to play for the Falcons a few years ago. He got injured, he left, and he went to the Miami Dolphins, and he made the Pro Bowl 2 years while he's with the Dolphins. But he's not there no more. He's in Tampa Bay now. And I think that loss of Brent Grimes is going to hurt their secondary as well. So when I factor in all those little points, I definitely, believe Seattle would dominate this game. And I don't think it's going to be with the run. I think it's going to be with the passing attack. And I'm hoping Doug Baldwin is a beneficiary of, this passing game that I think is going to happen. So Doug Baldwin in a stack with Russell Wilson, he's who I like at my 3rd receiver position. Now, if you're not on to Russell Wilson, I wouldn't even say use Doug Baldwin. But again, because I believe you definitely have to have that quarterback wide receiver stack, I'm going to stick Doug Baldwin in there. Now, other than those 3 receivers, I want to talk about some of the other receivers, the top receivers, of course. The top price receiver is Antonio Brown for $9,300. Now, he's a premium price. This is my take on Antonio Brown for week 1. Antonio Brown, he's a great receiver, but you're paying premium price for him, so it's going to make it a little more challenging for you to create the rest of your lineup. Now, the matchup is Monday Night Football. He's going up against Josh Norman. So, basically, if you believe that Josh Norman is a good cornerback and he's not about just all that talking, he's actually one of the top cornerbacks in the league, then I would say fade Antonio Brown if you believe that. But if you believe Josh Norman is just all about talking, he's not that good and he's overpaid and he's just more talk than play, then definitely go ahead and play Antonio Brown. But the game is in Washington, on the road or whatever. This isn't season long. I know in season long fantasy, Antonio Brown was like the number 1 pick in most leagues. But this is DFS, about matchups. So for me, I was basing my feelings on Antonio Brown based on how I feel about Norman as a cornerback. And I believe Norman is a decent cornerback. I'm not going to say he's great, but I believe he's pretty good, and I think he's going to be motivated, to play against the top receivers. So for me, I think Antonio Brown is someone you should fade. But if you don't believe in Josh Norman, just think he's not that good, go ahead and play Antonio Brown. The next receiver on here that I want to talk about is Julio Jones. Now, y'all know I'm a big Falcons fan, so I definitely always think about playing Julio, in DFS. But for week 1, I think he's someone you should fade. And here's my reasons why you should fade Julio Jones. For one, he has a minor ankle injury. So, I'm sure he's going to play, but, the ankle injury is kind of risky when you're paying a premium price. But more importantly, the matchup. Like I mentioned about the Miami game, Brent Grimes, he played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. Now Grimes, he used to play for the Falcons at least 3 seasons, so he has that familiarity with going up against Julio in practice. Also, the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Mike Smith. Mike Smith, he used to coach the Falcons for like 4 or 5 seasons, so there's some familiarity there. Also, the head coach for the Buccaneers used to be an offensive coordinator for the Falcons. I believe it's Dirk Cutter. So basically, my point is, on the Tampa Bay side, it's a lot of familiarity. Their coaches and Brent Grimes, they know a lot about the Falcons. They know a lot about Matt Ryan. They know a lot about Julio. So with them knowing so much about the Falcons at a premium price, I think you should fade Julio. Julio is a great player. In my opinion, he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. But for week 1, I can't play him. I'm going to have to fade him. I respect Brent Grimes' ability as a cornerback. I believe he's a top cornerback in the league and an elite corner. I believe he made the Pro Bowl last year. So Julio, I wouldn't mess with him for week 1. With that being said, with all the attention being on Julio and they know him, a value play could possibly be Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver if you want to trade money, save some money. Let me go on to some more wide receivers. Odell Beckham Jr., 9,100. Now him, I think he can be a good play. I just don't want to spend that much for him, but going up against Dallas, I think he could be a decent play. He's definitely a player who likes to play in big time games. He got his famous one-hand catch against Dallas. So it's a high price, but I think he's okay. So if you pay down at other positions and have the money, Odell Beckham Jr., I think he's definitely a good play. Just going through other wide receivers. Brandon Cooks, I think he's good. That whole game, the Saints and the Raiders, I think that's one of the top DFS games. So Brandon Cooks, especially with Drew Brees at quarterback, and they playing at home at the Superdome, I could see Brandon Cooks. Just going through the wide receiver list. I really don't like Brandon Marshall. I think that the Cincinnati defense is a decent defense, and with their pass rush. So, I'm not really big on Brandon Marshall for week 1. Let me talk about Allen Robinson for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, they had a great season last year for Jacksonville, and Blake Bortles. They were 2 dynamic receivers. They both had over 1,000 yards receiving. Great seasons, but the thing is, Jacksonville, they got the acquisition of Chris Ivory, and I think he's going to help their run game. And with the run game being better this season, I think that's going to affect the pass game. I don't think they're going to pass as much. So I'm kind of indecisive about Allen Robinson, but I would fade him for week 1, definitely when you consider the price. DeAndre Hopkins, he's a great wide receiver. I'm just not sure about the chemistry between him and Brock Osweiler. This is Brock Osweiler's first year in Houston, so it's a little uncertainty. So, I'm trying to go with a little more safer plays at wide receiver, but I definitely understand if you do want to use DeAndre Hopkins. Dez Bryant, I'm just not, again, the same thing. Dak Prescott is his first game. I'm thinking the Cowboys are going to lean more on the run in week 1. So, Dez Bryant, he's great, but I'm not playing him week 1. And I think that's about it, for, my top plays at the wide receiver position. I want to go over some value plays and sneaky plays at the wide receiver position. These are plays if you want to save money, or also plays, sneaky plays, and players that a lot of people may not think about. Now, a value play, one value play at wide receiver, Rishard Matthews of the Tennessee Titans. He's 3,300 on DraftKings, and he's 5,200 on Fanduel. Kendall Wright, one of the receivers for Tennessee, he's not going to be playing week 1. So Rishard Matthews, he's going to be one of the top 2 options. And I think mainly because of his price, he's a great value play. Another value play at wide receiver, Mike Wallace for the Baltimore Ravens on DraftKings. He's 4,200. FanDuel, he's 5,400. Mike Wallace, he's had a couple off seasons the last 2 years. Last year in Minnesota, he didn't do much. But let's not forget, the type of player he was in Pittsburgh. He's one of the fastest players in the league. And now that he's playing with the Ravens and playing with Joe Flacco, one of the best deep ball throwers in the league, I think he has a comeback season this year and does pretty decent. So if you're looking for value, Mike Wallace is another guy. Another value play, Marvin Jones Jr. for the Detroit Lions. 4,600 on DraftKings, 5,500 on FanDuel. No Calvin Johnson, so somebody has to fill that void with all those receptions and receiving yards. And you have Marvin Jones Jr. and you have Golden Tate. I like Marvin Jones Jr. a little more, and I think he's in a good spot to put up some good fantasy points for week 1, especially at his price tag. Other value plays, my last one would probably be Curse for the Seattle Seahawks. Like I mentioned earlier, I like everybody on the Seahawks as far as wide receivers. His price is 5,400 on FanDuel and 3,500 on DraftKings. And so definitely Curse as well as Lockett, I think they're good value plays. So again, those players that I just mentioned, those are good value plays in my opinion. I'm going to move on to the next position of running back. Now, running back it's a position that I don't want to miss on. I don't think it's as important as wide receiver, but at the same time, I want to get the production. So my favorite running back would be Ty Gurley for 8,900 on FanDuel. Gurley, I think he's the second coming to Adrian Peterson. He's the truth. He had a great rookie season. When you think about the Los Angeles Rams, it's nothing special on offense. It's nothing special at quarterback. I think they start in Case Keenum at quarterback. Their best wide receiver is Tavon Austin, who really get a lot of his production on like reverse plays and things of that nature and screen passes. So with that being said, without a strong passing attack, I like Gurley at 8,900 at the running back position. You're paying top price for him, but I believe he's worth it. And being that he's the top price, I think he's a great tournament play because a lot of people may not want to spend that much. They want to save some money and pick some other running backs. But Gurley, he's a big-time player. It's Monday Night Football. The Rams are back in Los Angeles. The San Francisco 49ers aren't a defense that scares me. So Ty Gurley, he's my favorite play at running back. I'm not sure what his price, on DraftKings, they don't include Monday Night Football on the main slate. So this is a FanDuel play only. So, that's my take on Ty Gurley. My second favorite running back is going to be, I don't have him in my lineup now because I can't afford him, but Devontae Freeman for my Atlanta Falcons. Like I mentioned, I got the Matt Ryan jersey on. I got the Matty Ice jersey. I'm a Matt Ryan supporter. But week 1, I think he may struggle. I just don't feel like our passing attack is going to do well in week 1. I think we're going to have to lean on the run game and short little screen passes. And Devontae Freeman, he's a player that goes hard, and I think he definitely still want to prove that last season wasn't a fluke and that he's a legit NFL running back. So at 8,100, if you can afford it, I definitely like Devontae Freeman at running back. I think he's a little more affordable on DraftKings. I'm not sure, but Devontae Freeman, I think he's a great play at running back. Another running back I like for week 1, Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, he's a rookie, but the Dallas offensive line, it's a great offensive line. A couple seasons ago, DeMarco Murray, I think he rushed for over 1,500 yards. Last season, they had Darren McFadden running for over 1,000 yards. And, in the preseason, Ezekiel Elliott, he's been pretty good. And in his college career, going up against Alabama in the Crimson Tide, he ran all over them boys a couple years ago. Had a big-time game. So, I like Ezekiel Elliott. It's a lot of hype about him, but I think it's deservingly so. So Ezekiel Elliott at 7,900, I think he's a great play at the running back position. I can't afford him right now. But and then the player I have is Lamar Miller for the Houston Texans. I like him because he's a running back that can do it both ways. From running the ball off of your typical handoffs, and he also catches the ball out the backfield. Now, it's a new team he's on, but I just think, he's going to have a decent game. Like I said, Brock Osweiler, he struggled towards the end of last season. He lost his job to Peyton Manning. So I only expect him to go in there and light up the Chicago Bears. I think they're going to have a balanced attack, and Lamar Miller, he's a dynamic player, so I like him at the running back position. I'm just going to look through the rest of these guys. I'm not big on Adrian Peterson. I'll talk about him. The thing is, without Teddy Bridgewater, it's a known fact that they're going to have to lean towards the run. So I just believe that the Tennessee Titans, they're going to put all their focus on AP and, put 8 men in the box or whatever. Do everything to stop him. So especially at his price of 8,200, I don't really like Adrian Peterson, this week for week 1 on Fanduel. And let me talk about David Johnson real quick. David Johnson for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to talk about the Cardinals as a team as a whole, really. They're playing the New England Patriots. I believe it's Sunday night football. Now, the Cardinals, I think they could be a very interesting tournament play. But I just can't use Carson Palmer. I can't use David Johnson. I can't use Fitzgerald. I can't use Floyd. I can't use John Brown. And the reason is because of their opponent, the New England Patriots. I respect their defense. It's kind of like the Spurs in NBA. I never pick players that's playing against the Spurs because of their defense and their history. And I just respect the Patriots defense, so, I can't use anybody on the Cardinals. But with that being said, a lot of people are going to have that same mindset. So if you make a few lineups and you bold enough to use David Johnson or maybe the Cardinals wide receivers core against the Patriots, you'll have them at low ownership. And if they do well, it'll help you out a lot in, tournaments and GPPs. But I just wanted to put that thought out about David Johnson and the Arizona Cardinals in general for week 1. That's about all my take for the running back position. I do want to give some value plays for the running back position. Let's see. For DraftKings, Chris Ivory at 4,300. Ware for the Kansas City Chiefs at 4,400. And Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans at 4,000. I think those are 3 great value plays at the running back position, all below 5,000. And, Chris Ivory, he's a good red zone goal line running back, so he could get a touchdown. Where Jamal Charles, he's out, so he could get a lot of carries, being that he's starting in place of Jamal Charles. And Henry, I just don't want to forget the fact that he was the Heisman Trophy winner. He was a top running back in the tough conference in the SEC. So who knows? He could have a good game too, and he's at a low price. And for FanDuel, the same players, Chris Ivory for 6,100, Ware for 5,400, Henry for 5,400. I added 2 value plays for FanDuel. Woodhead for the San Diego Chargers at 5,800. He's a running back that gets a lot of catches, so definitely consider him if you're looking for value. And Isaiah Crowell for the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns for 5,700. He's just the #1 running back. He's going to get the carries. So I don't think Cleveland, they don't have a real strong wide receiving core. So they'll probably run the ball a lot. And with RG3 and the possible read option, definitely Crowell could be a good value play. Now, moving on, I want to go to the tight end position. All right, tight end is kind of thin. You know, it's not too many players to talk about. But my favorite tight end for week 1 is Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs. No Jamal Charles, wide receiver core that's like mediocre or below average in my opinion. I think they got Jeremy Maclin. I don't even know who their #2 wide receiver is. And Alex Smith, someone who doesn't like to throw the ball deep, throw a lot of mid-range passes, short passes. Travis Kelce for 6,400. He's my favorite play at tight end for week 1. He has a good chemistry with Alex Smith. Kelce, he has a knack for getting in the end zone. I'm gonna look at his statistics from last year. Only 5 receiving touchdowns last year, 875 receiving yards. But playing at home at Arrowhead Stadium, I really do like Travis Kelce. Considering their weak wide receiver core and no Jamal Charles, I think he's in play for a good game in week 1. Now another wide receiver that I really like, Delanie Walker for the Tennessee Titans. This guy, he goes under the radar, but he led all tight ends. This is a true stat. 2015 season, he led all tight ends in receptions with 94, and he led all tight ends in targets with 133. He was 3rd in receiving yards as far as tight ends with 1,088. And he had 6 touchdowns, played 15 games. Delanie Walker, he's someone who goes overlooked. You think about Gronkowski, you think about, Jimmy Graham maybe a couple seasons ago. But Walker, he's a legit play. And with Mariota, typically not a deep thrower, Delanie Walker, he's a great play for tournaments for week 1. So definitely Walker and Kelce, they're probably my top 2 plays at the tight end position. I'm gonna mention some other tight ends. Gronkowski, 8,700. I guess he could be a good tournament play because a lot of people not gonna pick him, but I just really don't trust him, without Tom Brady being there and Jimmy Garoppolo, however you pronounce his name. So I'm not gonna spend that money on Gronkowski. If you're making a lot of different lineups and you want to throw him in, okay, that's fine. But, I'm not messing with him. I think Jake Reed is a good play also. Kirk Cousins, I think he tried to make the safe throws. And Jake Reed, he's a dynamic tight end. So he's decent, just kind of a high price tag. Antonio Gates, I think he's pretty decent too. Phillip Rivers, he loves to throw the ball. He throw the ball probably 50 times a game. And him and Antonio Gates, they have a great chemistry. They've been together for so many seasons. So definitely Antonio Gates could be a good possible play. Somebody commented on one of my YouTube videos and mentioned this guy, and it could be a good play. Corey Fleener for the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, he spreads the ball around, so everybody gonna get their touches. So Fleener is definitely a good play in my opinion for tight end. And you have that value of 5,400. And that's about it as far as tight ends. Let me go over my value plays for tight end, value and sneaky plays. On DraftKings, I just talked about him. Delanie Walker, 4,500. He's definitely underpriced. I think he's a great value play. And this guy, pay attention to this one. You could definitely, this is a great value play. Jared Cook for the Green Bay Packers, $2,900 on DraftKings. If you find yourself spending a lot of money on all the positions, Jared Cook, I think he's a perfect play, perfect value play at tight end on DraftKings. And on Fanduel, like I mentioned, Fleener for $5,400 and Jared Cook again for $5,300. He's priced a little higher on Fanduel, but on DraftKings, Jared Cook, if you find yourself kind of short on money. And then the last position, quarterback. Excuse me. Quarterback. Like I said, for quarterbacks, I'm starting off this season building around a quarterback wide receiver stack. And for me, it's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin. I'm using that stack for my week 1 lineup. It's my favorite stack. Now, Russell Wilson, he's playing at home against the Miami Dolphins, and he's a dual threat quarterback. You know, he can beat you with the pass as well as on the run, so you can get those passing yards and those rushing yards. And every once in a while, he do a play action bootleg and running in for a touchdown. Those are all things that I like to Russell Wilson's advantage. Being that there's no Marshawn Lynch, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like the Seahawks will have to, rely on their passing game a little more this season. And Russell Wilson, he plays better at home. I mean, his first 2 years of his career, I believe he's like 14-2 or maybe 15-1 at home. He's a quarterback that doesn't tend to make a lot of mistakes. Y'all know when he be scrambling, he try to avoid them hits. He know how to slide. He easily just run out of bounds after he get the first down. So I don't feel he's a player that's going to hurt me with any fumbles or interceptions. I like his passing yardage upside. I think he gets at least 250 passing yards, maybe 75 rushing yards, and a couple passing touchdowns and maybe a rushing touchdown. I love Russell Wilson this week. He's my favorite play at the quarterback position. Now, enough about Russell Wilson. I'm going to talk about the other quarterbacks in general. I think when you pick a quarterback, especially for week 1, I think it's best to pick a quarterback playing at home because, these stadiums for week 1, they're going to be turned up. It's going to be hard for the road quarterbacks to hear their audibles and their plays and in their headset. So I think the road quarterback's going to struggle. So I think Andrew Luck is a good play. Even though overall I don't think Andrew Luck is as good as everybody make him out to be for week 1 matchup, I think he's a great play going up against the Detroit Lions at home. And as far as the stack, Andrew Luck and Moncrief would be my stack for that particular game. I wouldn't use Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton could work, but I like Moncrief better. Aaron Rodgers, I know he's considered the best quarterback in the league. I guess he could be a good play, but I'm not messing with him. I expect Jacksonville to put up a fight and, play a good game in this opening week. And, I'm not big on Aaron Rodgers this week, especially at a premium price on the road. He could be a good tournament play, but I'm not going to take that chance. Not going to pull the trigger on that. Drew Brees going up against the Raiders at home. I really don't like the Saints. I hate the Saints. I can't stand them, just speaking as a Falcons fan. But from a DFS perspective, I would say Drew Brees is a great play for cash games because a lot of people are going to pick him, and he does play well at the Superdome. But for tournaments, I don't know because he could have some high ownership. A lot of people might pick him. So for Drew Brees, I think he'll have a good game. But I would play him in cash games, your 50-50s, your double-ups, head-to-heads. For tournaments, I wouldn't use him. Blake Bortles, I have no interest in him. I just think that Chris Ivory is going to help their run game. I don't think they're going to be passing as much as they did last season. Big Ben Roethlisberger, I think he could be an interesting tournament play. It's on the road. Josh Norman. I went to a Redskins game last season at FedEx Stadium. Those fans, they're pretty passionate, and they're going to be turned up, I believe. So, I'm not going to use Roethlisberger. I already talked about Carson Palmer. I think another great tournament play if you want to save some money Derek Carr for the Oakland Raiders. Derek Carr and Amari Cooper stack. I think that definitely work. He is on the road at a stadium in the Superdome that is tough to play in. So that's where the risk lies. But he definitely could have a good game. I'm wearing the jersey and everything, but for DFS purposes, I wouldn't mess with Matt Ryan. I talked about that earlier, so I'm not going to go over it. But Matt Ryan, I wouldn't play him. And I'm going to mention Brock Osweiler. I've seen the people on YouTube, a lot of people on YouTube talking about him as a value play. He could very well be a good value play, but it's too risky for me. I'm just not sure how he's going to do with a new team. But at 7,100, he could be a good value play. And at the quarterback position, the good value plays for DraftKings, in my opinion, value and sneaky plays, Tyrod Taylor at 6,900, Derek Carr at 7,300, Brock Osweiler at 6,300, and let me not forget to mention Dak Prescott at 5,000. Now the thing with Dak Prescott, I know he's had a great preseason, and his price on Fanduel as well as DraftKings is very low. He's 5,000 on both sites, but a lot of people may pick him, so that makes him not a good tournament play if a lot of people are going to pick him because of his price tag. Now, he could be good for cash games, but for tournaments, he may have some good ownership. And again, like I mentioned, the Cowboys, they have a great offensive line. So, with a rookie quarterback starting his first game ever, I think they may want to lean on the run a little more. And I don't know if he has that chemistry with, Dez Bryant and Jason Witten like that. Now, don't get me wrong. He could have a good game. 5,000 is a great value price. But he still is a rookie. And it is, his first NFL game. So, it's kind of risky to me. But, mainly because of the price, he's a value play. But, I just think Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a good game. I think they're going to lean on the run. And I don't think Prescott is going to, be that explosive as he was in the preseason. Let's see. Yeah, that's about all my value plays at quarterback. Kicker on FanDuel. Not going to talk about it a lot, but I got Matt Bryant for the Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, I think Matt Ryan might struggle in the passing game because of all the people that know him on the Tampa Bay side. So I think he's going to be able to work the ball downfield, but he may not be able to get the ball in the end zone. He struggled with that last year, which will benefit Matt Bryant, as far as getting, some field goals in the dome. Don't have to worry about the weather conditions, but I'm not going to talk a lot about kicker. There's a lot of kickers you could choose from, but, Bryant for the Falcons is who I got right now. And for team defenses, this is going to be a value play and a sneaky play as well. FanDuel and DraftKings, I'm rolling with the Tennessee Titans. And the reason is, no Teddy Bridgewater. And so for the Vikings, it's going to either be Sam Bradford or I think the quarterback name is Sean Hill. Neither one of them scares me. Their wide receivers, yeah, Stephon Diggs, he's pretty good, but the quarterbacks, they don't scare me at all. I think whether it's Bradford or Hill, I think they're both suspect to throw interception. They're both likely to get a fumble. They're not mobile, so they can easily get sacked. I really like the Tennessee Titans week 1. And, that's just as far as a value and sneaky play for tournaments. But other than the Titans, I think the top defenses will be the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Dolphins. At home, the Legion of Boom, I think that's what they call them. Richard Sherman, Michael Bennett. Definitely the Seahawks if you can afford them. I like the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium playing against the Chargers. And I I think that's about it. I'm not going to talk too much about team defenses, but again, of course, I think Seattle is the best one. Definitely play them in your cash games. But for tournaments, just trying to be a little different. I like the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people not going to think about playing them as a team defense, but they could do well. So, that's about it for my lineup strategy for Fanduel and DraftKings. The video's a little longer than the baseball, because, it's a little more, gotta get a little more in-depth about the football week. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm excited about week 1, excited about tonight. Hopefully for my Thursday slate, Cam Newton and Greg Olsen can have a good game. But, it's going to be exciting this week. For all y'all who play this DFS, this is week 1. We on the same level as all the experts. Everybody starts on a clean slate. Just believe in your abilities, because DFS is a skill. And we can do this. Like, I really, really believe that if you just put in the work and do the research and make the smart picks, your lineup can do well and succeed, and you can win some money. So, that's what I got for week 1. Definitely, if y'all like this video, please subscribe, leave some comments, and give me some feedback. And as always, I definitely want to thank everyone who's taking the time out to view this video. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed to the YouTube channel. We're up to like 74 subscribers. Thanks to everyone who's joined the Facebook group, following the Twitter account, and also who's following on Instagram. Just search hashtag #BeTheBestDFS, to join me in this movement and what I'm trying to do in this daily fantasy sports industry. So thanks again, everyone, and good luck. Hope y'all win some money this weekend, and hopefully all y'all lineups do well. And that's about all I got. I'll leave y'all with what I always leave y'all with. Try to be the best tonight if you're playing baseball, and try to be the best this week for week 1 NFL football. All right, I'm out.